Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all good. We're here to do the Liverpool versus Newcastle preview. Liverpool obviously hosting Newcastle now at Anfield. It's a massive game in the Premier League for us. And I think there are a couple of things to cover at the very top of this. First of all, Arne Slot's approach to this game, not only formationally and strategically, but also in terms of the mentality around the side. He was asked about this in his press conference, and he basically said, look, these guys have been in the Premier League for a while now. They know the deal when it comes to playing strong sides like Newcastle, sides who are probably underestimated in the league. They've been through the Forest game, and he listed a number of those other games we've been through, Newcastle away being one of them. And you'll remember this earlier in the season, right? There is a bit of a score to settle here because especially when you look at the way that game finished, it was very clear that Newcastle were targeting Kelleher in that way. There had been a previous match before that where the opposition, might have been Wolves, had gone very close to Kelleher in terms of looping the ball over the top, and he'd let it go. In this one, again, looped the ball over the top, he let it go, and ultimately it caught us out. We'd have gotten 2 more points, would be 13 points ahead in the league right now, which would feel a lot more insurmountable than an 11-point lead with a game in hand, with Arsenal still to come to Anfield. And I get it, there's a lot of confidence around the team right now, but I think at the same time, we probably need to acknowledge that the confidence is because we beat a badge in obviously also we've got a very consistent record, but we beat a badge in Man City on the weekend. Arsenal lost to a team that sit deep, and we're probably going to flip those roles in the coming weeks, especially because Arsenal will play teams that want to play them punch for punch and go, hit for hit, whereas Liverpool are going to play a bunch of teams who want to sit deep against them, who don't particularly want to play them play for play, should we say. And I get it, that's how the season is going to break down, but there's still a third of the season left to go. And it's going to be interesting to see how we choose to play Newcastle. I was looking through the predicted lineups. I'm going to bring it up a bit. So I was looking through the predicted lineups, both sides, right? I pretty much concur with this lineup, though I think the layout of it's going to be a little bit different. And obviously there are some things that worry me about this Newcastle team. First of all, these 2 centre-backs are going to sit deep. They're not as mobile maybe as they would want to be, which might play into our advantages. I'll talk about that in a little while. But then in the midfield, they've definitely got a very combative unit of a midfield. These 2 guys are world-class players. I'll talk about Newcastle again in a little while. But then you get into this front line, but also just the overall unit of this front 6. Quick, definitely going to be challenging Trent on that side because I don't think we've got any other option apart from Trent. Jacob Murphy, you'd hope that we can shut him down a little bit, but let's see. We'll probably see if there's a rotational option to be able to shut him down. I'm not sure Tsimikas is that kind of shutdown player, but at the same time, Cody Gakpo does like him a little bit deeper, and if Alexis McAllister does play, I think we've got lockdown on that side. It's Isak that worries me. Obviously, he's a world-class striker. He's someone that Liverpool are rumoured to want in the first place, and we all know how players that Liverpool are rumoured to want play against Liverpool. Now, first of all, we've suffered quite a lot this season from some world-class shots. Cunha in the recent games pops into my mind, but there are also just a lot of you need to create high-quality chances against Liverpool, and this guy is a walking high-quality chance, or he's low-quality chances that he weirdly converts, right? And that's kind of my point here, is this side might not look as strong on paper against Liverpool, but the way that they play is certainly very, very strong. And if I go to Newcastle's recent record, you will certainly see, can I click on Newcastle? Yeah, there we go. They've had a relatively mixed bag, right? Against City in the league, we all remember that one. Not going to open the app, come on. 4-0 versus City. They will not let that happen again this season. Right? They're just not going to allow that, Newcastle as a side. They're not going to allow any team to beat them by that margin. Birmingham, they obviously got the win. Newcastle then played Arsenal twice over those kind of 2 legs. I don't really count that in the same way. That was 4-0 in the end on aggregate. But ultimately, it wasn't. It was 2-0 in both games. They really played Arsenal in really solid fashion, undermined everything that was good about them. And to an extent, Arsenal have similar weaknesses to the ones that we have. They've also lost to teams like Fulham and Bournemouth, both teams that we've beaten more recently. Obviously, we've got the result against Wolves. This doesn't really count. That doesn't really count. And that doesn't really count either. But my point being, right, they're a difficult but unpredictable side to play. And if I go to the formation that I want to play, obviously this is how it's going to be laid out on the TV. In recent games, we've gone more of a shape like... Actually, was it more of a shape like... Yeah, it was more of a shape like that with someone like Curtis Jones in that position, Diaz out there, Salah out there, and then we basically just push through the middle, create boxes when we need to, overload them, which we certainly should be trying to overload them in those areas, and certainly should be trying to out-battle them in the midfield. And then we've been like, you know, ball from there goes on to someone like that. So the ball goes to him, and then he's got the overlap, he's got the underlap. And ultimately, like, these guys are then trying to finish those chances. It worked really well against City, but we are not, guys, going to see that again against Newcastle. I mean, we'll see us try it, but ultimately they're going to sit deep and try and plug these areas. Guimaraes, Tonali, and whoever else they've got in that midfield are going to try and pick up the ball in this area and stop Liverpool from getting through there. I think a number of teams, including Aston Villa recently, I've kind of had a bit of pleasure there, to be honest. Like it's kind of worked when they've been strong. I don't think City are a particularly good side to judge that off. And it's going to really count on how much control we can get in these games and how fit someone like Trent is, to be honest. I put Robertson in at left back, but actually it might end up being Simi in there. So either way, we've got Van Dijk on one side. You've obviously got Konate on the other. I think those guys will play. And I think at the back it will be Alisson, right? Ultimately, in these games, we've underestimated Trent's contribution, but the problem is Trent gets exhausted very, very quickly. We don't really have many other options off the bench right now. I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go, that's our predicted lineup. And those are our 3 injuries at the moment, leaving basically Jarell Quansah, Curtis Jones, Conor Bradley being out, and possibly Endo to come in midfield. That's not really great for us. And I don't think that Trent is going to be able to make it through, consistent back-to-back 90s, especially not with just a couple of days in between, and also with us wanting to save him for the coming games. It may be that we actually start this as a team, and that actually Jones plays back there. I don't know how you feel about that, right? Because I've been changing this formation around. Obviously, it was someone else's formation. I've just adapted, but it's pretty much Liverpool's best formation this season anyway. Jota kind of played, weirdly, when Jota plays, then we end up with Jota a bit more over there. And then you end up with him more there, although him more there, him more there, him more there. And it becomes more like a midfield 3 when Jota plays, weirdly. Because McAllister kind of drifts over here and Jota fills in a bit of the role that actually Szoboszlai would normally do. There's a bit more combination play, though it also pushes Jota on. I think we're going to end up starting Jota in this game, mainly because I think Curtis Jones will need to come on as control later in the game, and I think we probably will need to bring Endo on later in the game to shut this one out. We need to get ahead in these games and then shut the opposition out, and I think it's, that's obviously something that is easier said than done in a lot of these matches. But I also think we'll start someone like Gakpo. You can see that because of their formation at the back here. I think Livramento is a great player, but I also think we need someone who's going to be cutting inside, avoiding that space, attacking someone like Fabian Schär, and not just hanging boxes, but crosses up into the box. Equally, I think someone like Salah and Trent will be hanging up crosses. Why can't I grab these right guys? Into the box for someone like Jota to ghost in between and ultimately get the goal. It's an interesting tactic in the sense that I think, obviously, at some point, you would think Curtis Jones might play there, but I also think it's just not the one for this game. It's just not the formation going forward. It's not the one that we're going to get the most pleasure with. And as much as we want to plug up their midfield and stop them from playing, this is a slightly more front-footed game for us, or it should be, especially as we're at Anfield. And Newcastle will try to hit us on the counter through someone like Isak. I was going to say Andre Isak. It's Alexander Isak. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this formation in the comments below. Let me know what you're feeling about, overall shape of the team right now, why it would change game to game. I know there are a lot of people out there who disagree on multiple different formations to do with this Liverpool side right now and think, well, it's worked in the last 2 games. Why wouldn't we play it on this one? I think it's down to tactical variance and also just varying the way that we play against oppositions. It wouldn't surprise me if we finish the game like this and start the game like that. Does that make sense? It's Anfield. I'm going to try and go because I've got a few things I've got to do while I'm up there. Let me know if you guys are going to the game as well. If you want to come meet me, get into that Discord down there, get into the Patreon, come find me. I'm not saying you have to have a Patreon in order to come meet me. And come have a pint with me or whatever. I can't drink this time, but you can have a pint of water. I will chat to you guys in a while. Much love. Bye.